All right, we are back, and I wanted to point out first before we go to the GFS that weather.com, cool conditions are expected in the north central U.S. and parts of the northeast in May, while the southeast and west will continue to trend the warmer than average temperatures. Areas may see temperatures most above average include much of Florida Peninsula, as well as the southwestern Washington, western Oregon, northwestern California, according to the outlook released on Monday by the weather company and IBM Business. Now, this weather company has now forecasted correctly so far for the winter season and now the spring season and what appears to be another cool month. And NOAA, their temperature outlook is a little bit different. They don't have below average like this map is showing right here. So very, very accurate forecasting from the weather company and IBM Business. And these are the same people who also factored in that solar cycles have something to do with what has happened this year temperature-wise in the continental U.S. So while NOAA's going to tell you it's going to be an average spring or maybe even slightly above average, weather.com, and I know they're all still about man-made climate change. Their meteorologists speak about it all the time. But this has got to baffle them, the company they're paying, the information that they're using for their forecasts. So far, since last September, temperatures have been below average for much of the United States. It's a fact. Which makes it even more eager to see those numbers from Dr. Roy Spencer. I know I talked to a few people that think that we're going to stay in the 0.3 value of the temperatures. I can see that being a possibility, just staying in neutral for a few months, especially at a time where we're supposed to see increased warmth. And we're just not seeing it. And once again, this IBM Business, this company, the weather company, is giving information to weather.com, who has supported man-made global warming, and they know that there's more CO2 in the atmosphere, but yet their forecasting still continues to report more below average temperatures for most of the United States. The Northwest gets a warm up. Hey, thank God. And those guys have been pounded over there with snow and snow and snow, more snow than they expected to see this year for sure. The typical warmth in the deep south in Alabama, Georgia, parts of Mississippi. It's got on a slightly cooler side, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Kansas, and a lot colder in the Dakotas, and that's because of the soil saturation. That's my belief, because here's a map of where all the cooler. Now pay attention where below average is right now, okay? Because I'm getting ready to show you something here. Let me show you something. Look at this area right here that's going to be below average for May. All right, and then let's take a look at suitable field work. All right, what do you see? The areas that are predicted to be cooler are these areas right here. And we only see less than a day of field work suitable in South Dakota, a day and a half in North Dakota, a half day in Minnesota. And this is where we're going to see the coldest temperatures for May. Now, we just talked about last week how saturation in soil have a cooling effect. So this is no fluke that the Weather Channel is showing us a region that's going to experience below average temperatures in May, when we show you here on the farming map the same area which is saturated and underwater right now. Take a look at the Ohio Valley, slightly cooler temperatures, okay? Well, slightly better fieldwork conditions, not much, but slightly better. So again, this correlates with the Weather Channel's cool forecast for this region. Not as cool, it's only slightly above average or below average in this region right here. It's going to be well below average in this region, slightly as well. Now, down here you go in the south, less saturation. It's 5.6 days of field work, 5.1 in Georgia, 4.7 here in Alabama. And let's go and check out this region right here on the forecast map. It should be warmer. And look at that. It's warmer. So this is no coincidence, folks. When we talk about soil saturation right here, and I'm getting ready to show you here in the extended GFS, we're going to have some flooding in central Texas again, Oklahoma, Kansas, parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois. This blue line indicates where we're going to see this moisture from the south into the northeast and then head out through Maine. This is going to be the exact track of flooding over the next 7 to 10 days in this part of the country. So even weather.com is subliminally telling you that the theory that saturation, wet soil has a cooling effect. This is proof when you match up the farming map and you see all, okay, another case in point. This is really obvious. Looking right here. 7 days, 6.5 days, 6.8 days. So let me guess. It's going to be warmer over here, right? Voila. Look at that. Look at that. Sorry, not that. This. The same areas that we showed you that we're going to have a full week of field work are dry and therefore are going to be able to absorb warmer temperatures. This isn't hard, folks. This isn't hard stuff to figure out. When you watch the weather and you watch these GFS reports, and look, GFS is not even the best one to follow. It's just easier to use on Tropical Tidbits. The Europeans are usually a little closer, but the GFS still does a good job of giving you a general idea of what we're looking at. But so to me, when I look at this temperature map right here, this all makes complete sense to me when you talk about the moisture in the soil having a cooling effect, and then you look at the areas that are below average big time. Those are the areas that are still flooded and underwater. And then the areas that are near or slightly below average, those are areas also that are slightly not as flooded as we see it in the far northern plains. So again, the correlations there, just another example of how we can connect the science of climate and temperature and everything and show you proof that we're cooling and we're not warming. And guys, mind you, there's still records amounts of CO2 in the atmosphere. So again, we're still rising on CO2, but we're cooling. And a part of the country, this part of the country that we're showing you that's going to be cool, that's not normal. But it has everything to do with the amount of rain that we've seen falling here recently and saturating these parts. The areas in blue are being saturated, and we'll continue to see that rainfall. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the GFS. Been talking about it all night. We'll go back here to April 30th, checking out a low pressure system tomorrow, early overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. Now we will see rain in Ohio and across western New York as this system moves across Tuesday, bringing us showers and snow to the very upper part of upstate New York. And then back here in the central part of the country, in the southern part, we have a big giant mess. Possible 3 inches in Denver, 3 to 5 inches in Denver, Colorado. Other parts of Nebraska could see rates of 1 to 3 inches of snow, possibly more. Obviously, it's not going to stick that much, but more moisture developing. And here we go. Look at these maps. Look at where it's cool. And look at the forecast of the moisture that's going to be in these same regions that are talking about below average temperatures. And I even said that the reason why the deep south down here appears to may have gotten a little break until about May 3rd is because of some high pressure that's out here in the Atlantic. But there are more dry days out here. That's why they're expecting warmer temperatures as well. So you'll see that here in the GFS forecast. But as we move forward here, more widespread chances of rain on Tuesday, April 30th, across all over parts of central United States. And as we get further into Wednesday, this system continues to grow, and heavy rain along the Mississippi Valley into the Ohio Valley into Wednesday, overnight Wednesday night into Thursday, as the majority of the precipitation appears to be moving towards Canada and through the northeast. But then on the backside, it reforms and more moisture is brought up from the Gulf. And this is May 2nd. So a repeat of showers and storms through the Mississippi Valley into the Ohio Valley. Again, now let me stop. Again, where we're seeing these blue temperatures, where it's going to be cooler. So far in our GFS forecast, it's agreeing that we're going to see precipitation, which the more soil saturation we have, you're dealing with a cooling effect. By the way, here is that high pressure system that's protecting the deep south from Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina for the time being. That does not last. As we move forward into our forecast, starting on the 3rd, we have a development in central Texas, which that still stands from what we were talking about. Moderate showers in the Ohio Valley into the northeast once again. And then over the course of the 3rd, more widespread chances across the south as that high pressure system in the Atlantic starts to move further away inland from the coast, and more moisture being drawn up from the Gulf. And 2 days, the 3rd into the 4th. Now, the first time we saw this forecast, we thought we were going to see a multi-day event. Nevertheless, this is the 3rd system that we've seen almost go in the same exact path, right where we see this light blue. So we keep seeing moisture going in the light blue area. And again, these guys are just still underwater and flooded out from all the snow melt and the rain and the snow they're still getting in that region. And again, got chances of more snow coming into their part of the woods by, check this out, May 5th. More rain, more snow chances for the northern plains. And again, another system developing in Texas, spreading into the mid part of the United States. And again, another signal, the GFS, they moved the dates. We first saw this stationary front just sitting over central Texas starting on May 3rd. Now it looks like GFS is trying to suggest that May 6th is the beginning of this stationary front that continues to produce heavy rain showers over the same area before it finally moves out. So the same signature is that we get a 2 to 3 day rain event in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, and then before it finally moves off into the Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, and then across the deep south, which this is their first bit of action as far as rain in the last 6 days. So they're on a break, they're on a hiatus, and then as we get into mid-May, we start to see the increasing chances of moisture returning to the south once again, and the northeast gets a slight break before May 15th. We see another low pressure system that's more than likely going to bring rain showers once again through the northeast. But guys, very active pattern here. We're still looking at snow chances on the map through May. Wyoming, Montana, May 4th, May 5th, same areas. And we don't see any more snow chances really in the United States starting, it looks like even May 10th. So May 13th is when we really start to see the majority of this just being rain and the rest of this being upper level snow in the higher elevations. But for the most part, May 15th looks like the first day of the 2019 year that we could forecast possibly 0 snow showers or chances of snow or even colder air. Let's check out what the temperatures look like for this time of the month. And spring-like indeed. The Midwest looking at 80s and 70s. The Northeast looking at the mid-70s and upper 60s. Gorgeous weather. We can only hope that sticks around. I know a lot of us are tired of this long winter that we've experienced. But let's take a look at the temperature progression over the next 15 days. And this is a normal so far. I mean, we still got a lot of 40s and 50s across the northern plains. That's where the areas that we've seen the saturation of the soil. And those areas that are getting lots of moisture are probably staying cool. Even for May 15th, it's not unheard of to see a few 85-degree days in southwest Ohio. And really, their high temperatures dip all the way down into the mid-60s, the upper 50s in the mid part of May. So still cooler weather to parts of Ohio, the northern plains, and the northeast. Of course, you guys don't start seeing 70s regularly until about late May and early June. But this seems like way on track for a typical spring for the Northeast. But again, I can see the cooling trends in the Northern Plains and in the Ohio Valley, Illinois, and stuff like that. So very interesting weather that we have to watch here over the next few days. Again, we just showed you moisture. We just showed you the suitable days for weather, and then we compared it to the temperature map. Obviously, that saturation of soil is causing a cooling effect. And the fact that we keep getting bombarded with more and more moisture in areas that we just don't need it. So hopefully we'll have a better idea too of what the kind of crop loss we are looking at as well. Now, before I hand it over to Mari, I want to announce that this Saturday we'll be talking with special guest Scott Chapman, Charles Scott of YouTube, and he is going to give us his presentation on the grand solar minimum and really just start from the basics and kind of take us all the way through a timeline. And the reason why I'm bringing him on is that he's a like-minded person who wants to educate the public about the grand solar minimum, not just about solar cycles, but everything, kind of like what we look to do, from sunspots, what they are, what they do. And so I really wanted to bring him on, as I really believe that he gives a perspective of some kind of sense of order to how things are going to happen and where to start with preparations and stuff like that. But just another valuable bit of information that I think that our listeners can value. And the beauty of it is it's on YouTube. So once it's uploaded, it's there forever. So it's something that we may be on the air live for 2.5 hours on Saturday because of this presentation. But it's something where you guys don't have to listen to all at once. And also, it'll be something that you can go back and study over and over, because the presentation is pretty detailed. And I have to say that it's good information, and it's stuff that we thrive. I think the common ground between Scott and our channel is that we thrive to inform the public and do it in a way that makes sense and is understandable and clear, as well as impactful. So we're very excited. We're going to have him on this weekend. It's Saturday night, 9 p.m. our time, Eastern time. Meanwhile, this week, I'd like to try to get back to a more normal sense of a broadcasting schedule. Thursday night, we will do a broadcast for our nightly update. And then Friday night, it'll be a little bit different. We're going to premiere the interview that we had today on radiatecreators.com with Craig. Very nice guy. Now, he's already interviewed Diamond from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Adapt 2030. He has also interviewed Scott Chapman as well. And Ben Davidson was his latest interview. So he's doing a collection, and then he talked to us today for a little over an hour. So he's doing a collection of people who are in the same field and cover the same topic. And just like what we're doing, he's gathering all the pieces of how the message gets communicated and what channel offers what to the community. And I think it's fair to say that Mari and I can always admit to this, that we are simply reporting on the grand solar minimum and its conditions, and also absorbing the information as well, so we can pass it along to you folks and help explain some of this stuff that sometimes gets a little too sciencey for me. But thankfully, I've got a great partner in Mari who helps me comprehend most of the information. Anyway, with that being said, Mari, I'd like to bring you over and see if you'd like to say hello to anybody.
Oh, Jake, you and your compliments.
Well, you do a lot for us, and you're behind the scenes a lot too. So
crazy GSM zealot. What can I say?
Zealot.
You just cracked me up. Oh, Jake. It has been fun in the chat. There's been some conspiracy. I feel like I have my tinfoil hat on. I don't want to get into it.
All right.
Get controversial, and then there's some people with all the flooding. They are purchasing rafts. So don't really blame them.
Yeah.
With what I've seen worldwide, sort of a nice investment to have.
Yep.
So hello to everyone in the chat. It's always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to the premiere of the interview we did today on Friday, and then our chat on Saturday with the presentation.
Scott Chapman. Yep.
I call them SGSM.
Well, hey,
Is that a short, like...
SGN, well, his website is Super Grand Solar Minimum Info, or is it .info? Sorry, Scott. We'll have all that for the interview. Didn't mean to butcher that, but he has his own website too. So very, very informative. In fact, we'll try to throw that in the description of this video so you guys can take a look at that as well.
It's good to hear other thoughts from other people in the community, different perspectives, and we're all on the same path, different points, different angles. So it's very interesting. So I hope you guys all have a great night, and we are excited to get back on track with our schedule after the second move in this past year. It's been crazy. So I am excited. Hopefully we could do some of those little solar updates. So short, quick news
Get
things.
those back rolling as well.
Format.
Me too.
So, all right. That's all I got, Jake.
All right. Thank you, Mari. And again, thanks everyone who tuned in tonight to our broadcast on Monday, April 29th, 2019. We appreciate your support and your continuing following this channel to seek information and get the truth about the climate. Thanks for making us your choice on, a sort of daily basis. All right, guys, we'll talk soon. Take care.